Way to start the year, January 2019 was. Um, for me, I got more systems than I did video games or Blu-rays for that matter. It was a lot of I have three new systems added to the collection, and I don't really collect many systems unless it's like a limited version of a system I already had. Like I collected the World of Final Fantasy PlayStation Vita and the Fire Emblem edition, the blue one of the 3DS, and I'm still looking for the black and white one in box, and that one's a little harder to come by. That's not like over $200, but for me, for the year of 2019, it's always luck of the draw. I never look for anything in particular unless it's a game I pre-ordered, like Kingdom Hearts was. 2019, the beginning at least, was a lot of system pickups that I didn't think I'd come across, but I got them at a good price. But I guess to start talking about the pickups today, I'm just going to start talking about Kingdom Hearts. Start the year, I think, is to start talking about something that I already talked about in my last video, which is Kingdom Hearts 3. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3 was like a game everyone was super hyped for, including myself, and I spared, well, I wouldn't say I spared no expense, because I didn't buy the collector's edition. I didn't buy the system collector's edition that was the Square Enix exclusive. Nothing like that. Nothing too out of the extreme, but I did get the bonus for Kingdom Hearts 3, which is a Toy Story fabric poster from the Toy Story World of Kingdom Hearts 3. I actually ended up selling my Xbox One controller because I wanted the Kingdom Hearts 3 edition of the wired controller, and wired wireless doesn't really matter to me. It's not that big a deal, and I was actually just really happy to get this. It has a really cool design on it, and this is what I'm going to use for my Xbox One X. And of course I got the game, the Kingdom Hearts 3, the deluxe edition. It's going to go really nice next to my 2.8. Now I just need to get the 1.5 2.5, which is kind of, for some reason, that game, the deluxe collector's edition for that game got really expensive. Like, I can't find a copy of that game that isn't like triple digits, and it's crazy. But the first of my like actual pickups that wasn't a pre-order was a game called Voez for the Nintendo Switch, VOEZ. Basically, it's just like it's a rhythm game, but I asked it for Christmas from a friend, and it didn't come until January. Like the very beginning of January is when I actually got it. I haven't even opened it yet. It's going to go in the backlog. Right now, I've been playing a lot of Fighter Z, and I took a little break because Kingdom Hearts came out, and that's all I've been playing. But Fireworks, it's an anime, and I'm really excited for this because apparently it's from a lot of the people who helped produce Your Name, and I adored that movie, so I can't wait to sit home and watch this. I think I saw this at Walmart for like $15 new, but to get it $5 off, and it's complete, it has the Blu-ray, the DVD. I'm really excited to have that. The next one here is Kin. Was a movie that came out in theaters a couple months back, I think in like November or like late October. And this was a really good movie. It's about a kid who finds like a gun in a warehouse, and without revealing any plot details, it gets like really cool, and it like sets up this whole universe thing. And I don't know if it did well enough in the box office, but it was definitely a Blu-ray I wanted. And the next one is actually a movie called Searching, which was, I'm a huge fan of found footage movies, and this has this is kind of a found footage movie. If you guys remember the trailers for this movie, it was a movie that was shot on a MacBook about his daughter who goes missing, and basically it's all shot in that format, and it's actually really interesting. It kind of reminds me a lot of Unfriended, like at least the way it was recorded, but it's not all like that. Obviously there's some new scenes and stuff like that, and the movie gets kind of nuts at this point, but I could never find like a copy like that wasn't at like Best Buy or something like that for like $20, and I couldn't justify that. And for some reason during Black Friday season, it wasn't available for like more than like $12-15. But this was complete. It's the Blu-ray digital, and it has the slipcover too, which I'm a big fan of. And I was really happy to get that one. The last Blu-ray that I got for the month of January was A Quiet Place, and it was another movie I really wanted. So the next pickup are actually figures from animes, video games, stuff like that. But these were totally by accident. I wasn't planning on getting any figures this time of year, but I was driving down the road and I saw this little figure store. Like it was just like a toy store, and I was like, ooh, bet, gotta get into that. So we had some extra time, so we went in there, and sure enough, it's like this cool store that sells like figures, like old Power Ranger stuff, old Digimon, old they had a lot of Power Ranger stuff, old Football Guys, Star Wars, whole 9 yards. The first time I went there wasn't really anything that I wanted. I looked around a couple times. I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to get. But there was one thing that I did get the first time I went, and I kid you not, yeah, it is Hamtaro from the anime Hamtaro. It was like $2, and you know your boy had to get it, because I watched Hamtaro like most people watched Hamtaro growing up. It was on demand, or it was like, I think it was on a block like Future of Toonami or Cartoon Network. I can't remember, but yeah, he's gonna go great. He's gonna go right here on my computer desk, and for the price that he asked, it was actually in the back. So you go in the front of the store, and the front of the store is just like standard Star Wars figures, and there's some cool Gundams, but they're already pre-built. So I'm walking to the back, I'm looking around, there's like this little section you could tell that he has just for like girl toys, and I was looking through all that, and I kid you not, there's a little Hamtaro little ball guy there, and I had to pick it. It's the Dragon Ball GT Crate and Trace book. Now, I got this mostly because when I was a kid, the Scholastic would come around all the time. And what you could do with Scholastic is you could order books on the back of it. And if it was anything Dragon Ball Z related, Dragon Ball whatever, your boy had to pick it up. So I got the one during the Kid Buu saga, and the Kid Buu saga was this really cool. Had Super Saiyan 3 Goku on the figure. Had Super Saiyan 3 Goku on the book, and you could go like throughout the book, and there was like stickers and stuff. But what's really cool about this is it's called Crate and Trace, right? So what it does is basically has like a picture, like here's Pan right here, and then you can just do a sheet, and then you could just trace Pan. And I just always thought that was a really cool way to at least get into drawing, or like just a way to get some creative juices flowing. And what I really like about these books is they just do straight print runs. They do straight art print runs of pieces from the show. Like right here, it's just like a straight print of like old school black and white Dragon Ball GT artwork. And I saw something else really cool when you open it. It's like there's just straight background shots from the show. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage you to like draw on it. I'm not going to draw on it, but I just thought this looked really cool. It was a really neat art display piece. I'm just going to put it with my books and stuff. I probably will do some tracing, but yeah, I really had to get it. Game Shark's Action Replay Code Breakers. I think it's a cool little novelty to have, and they don't really make them much anymore. I bought the last of the Action Replays for 3DS, and I used it for a couple like different playthroughs of Fire Emblem. You get like a bunch of items and stuff, but I remember using these guys back in the day for the Pokemon games, because especially Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, there was stuff that was like that you couldn't get to. Like there's legendary Pokemon that you couldn't get to in the game without like having some version of Game Shark or Action Replay to get to it, because they had it locked behind events. And I played the games like years at like Platinum. At least I played Platinum like a year or two after the release, after the events were already over. So like Pokemon like Darkrai I couldn't get my hands on without using like walk through walls cheat to get there. So I actually find these really fun to collect for, and they're usually under $10, and I think they're a cool little novelty to have. But back at that toy store that I was at, I went a second time. I wanted to bring a buddy who I know likes collecting stuff, but the second time around, he had this specific figure in a case, and I really wanted it, but I didn't know which version of Greymon it was, but I had to get it because he is awesome, and he's like fully complete, and I think he wanted like $8 or $10 for it. And yeah, Digimon figures, I seem to think that they are kind of harder to come by nowadays. So I was really happy to pick this guy up. And I actually have like a little broken down War Greymon figure up there somewhere. You can kind of see him. He's like up there next to the Blue Eyes White Dragons. He's kind of chilling up there. But yeah, his shield is broken off, but I'm probably just going to put this bad boy right up next to it. I think they're going to look really cool together. But the last figure related item that I got, at least for the month of January, was something that I picked up again at that toy store, and it was just in like a little baggie. He lets you behind the counter if you want, if you're looking for certain things, or so he pulls out this giant Power Ranger, like old school Power Ranger like bucket, just like old school vintage Power Ranger toys. And a lot of them were just ones I either already had or just wasn't collecting for. But there was one figure I really, as soon as I saw it, I was like, bet, gotta get that. So it's an actual Beetleborg. It's the green, it's the die-cast metal. I don't think they're metal, but like they're like actual plastic. So I have, if you can see over there, I have the red one. I have the red guy up there next to my Xbox games, and I have the blue one up there, but the blue one is like this version, and the red one's just like a rubber figure. But I definitely had to get that guy. So I think all I need is like because I think there was only 3 Beetleborgs. Beetleborg, I remember there's 2 boys and a girl, I think, from that show. And this one's going to be really cool to have because I'm going to put next to the blue guy up there, or I'm going to put him in front of my Xbox game so we can match color wise. I actually think that'll look pretty cool. I thought I already had it on 3DS, but apparently they are different games. And anytime I can get a Vita collectors or Vita limited edition for under 40-50 bucks, I'm going to get it. And it's actually Corpse Party Blood Drive for the PS Vita. And I'm really happy to have this because it's going to look really great next to my other Vita games. But maybe I'll play this along with the 3DS version come Halloween time. Sit down and like I could put this in the PlayStation TV, and it'll be really fun to have like on my monitor here. I was out with my friend. It was a Saturday, so I was off of work, and I was out with my friend, and we had a McDonald's gift card, so we decided to go spend that. And so we're at the McDonald's on the opposite side of town, and my boss calls me for my job. My boss knows I'm into like anime and stuff like that. He knows I'm into cosplay, and I go to a lot of cons, so he knows I'm into that kind of stuff. So he gives me a call, and he's like, just put in this address. So I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'm like, sure, okay. So I put in the address. He's like, go to this address. They say, I'm not going to tell you the items till the end of the story, but he says, go to this address, and on there it's a free porch pickup. So whatever you can pick up on the porch is totally free of charge. So at first I kind of didn't want to do it because I already had one, but my buddy convinced me to do it. Not for resale. I'm not going to resell it or anything like that. But one I can keep as an actual prop just to keep in my room. But the other one I can use as I kid you not. So we get there and I get around front and we get to the address. And like I said, it's a free porch pickup and it was posted through Facebook. So I don't see anything on the front porch. So I don't think there's anything there. I look around. There's nothing there. But so there's another car in the parking lot, and the car is on, it's running. So I'm thinking, oh, that person must have already got to it. Not a big deal. So I'm looking around for a minute, and it wasn't raining, but it was foggy and it was a little drizzling. So I wasn't trying to go out too much, get out of the car too much. But I was like, you know what? I told my buddy, I'm like, stay in the car, keep it running. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around back. Maybe they put it on the back porch because I didn't actually see the listing. My boss saw the listing. So I walk around back, and sure enough, there's not one, but 2 of them. And they're both sitting on the back porch. And I flip a lid. I get both of them, and I hold them like this in my hands. And I just storm over to the car, and I send pictures to my boss. And they're really cool. And what they actually are Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc. Yeah, I kid you not. Like the actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc from this one's from the Battle City arc of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and they actually work, which is awesome. So I already have one of the Battle City Dual Disc. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to use this one as a pure prop. I'm going to use it as a cosplay for my Joey Wheeler that I plan on doing at KatsuCon in like a week and a half from now, the February 14th weekend. And the other one I'm just going to keep up there. I already have the Silvori Countcos one too, but what really made me flip my leg, because like I said, I didn't see the postings, I didn't see any pictures. He said he only saw 1 dual disc in the picture. So I was pretty surprised, and so was he, and actually there was 2 dual discs there. And I kid you not, the other one, the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX dual disc. Now that's really cool because I don't ever see these. I usually only see them online, and they're the Japanese one. The Jane edition's like got like red borders around it, and this guy's awesome. He still works, and he's not gonna be a cosplay. He's just gonna go next to the other dual disc that I have. It's just a great prop, and GX is actually my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, so I was really happy to find one And I think I gave my boss one of the PlayStation games that I had that he wanted as a thank you for it. I was going to buy him lunch, but I decided that was a bit easier. So the last things I have today, the last things I have for the month of January at least. Well, the last things I have today, at least for the month of January, it was a slower month. I wasn't actually looking for too much. The only game that I cared about coming out this month was Kingdom Hearts. And I think I don't have anything else in particular looking forward to until they announce Fire Emblem. I am excited for the new Persona Q2 game, but that's not till June. So as far as like looking for anything in particular, there's not really much going on at the moment. But actually 3 video game systems. Nothing I was planning on collecting for, but when you have the opportunities to get them and at the prices that I was able to get them at, I was really happy with it. So the first item I got, I already had the lime green Game Boy Color, but this one's actually the Pokemon Game Boy Color. I think it's the first of the Johtos. Now, what I really want, I want the other Johto Game Boy Color, the one that has Cyndaquil on it, because Cyndaquil is my favorite Pokemon. And I think that he has Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Chikorita on this side here, and then I think Pikachu's on the other side. But this one's great. The sound still works on it too, which is great. And so this one I'm just gonna keep on my my desk here next to the Ham, the Hamtaro guy, and so that one's gonna be really great to have. So the second to last thing I got was another system. I'm not usually much for getting like the emulator systems, but as you can see up there, I have the Sega one. I have the little Sega guy, and I never took him out of the box. It was actually my last pickup from it was actually my last pickup from Toys R Us before they closed down. They had it for like $8 or $9, and I thought it'd just be great to have in the box because I don't actually have a Sega Genesis. It's not a system I collect for because they're so easy to emulate. But yeah, so I have that one, but I saw this one at a local thrift store, but it's the Sega Genesis Flashback. Now, from what I hear, people complain about the sound on this, but like I said, this is going to be more for a prop for me. I was just going to go up there next to the other, say a bunch of games on there that I do want to do a playthrough at one point, but I actually have the Sega Genesis for the Switch, and I'll be playing most of the games that are on here that I actually want to play, I can play on this. So it has 2, 3, and 4 of the Phantasy Stars, and then I bought the first one because the first one you could get separately, but it also has the Shining Forces, at least I think the first 2 or 3 Shining Forces for Genesis. So those would be some great old school RPGs, which is usually the only thing I collect for. But so there's one more thing for the month of January, and I've never had this system before. So growing up, I got the original NES, but that's a whole story within itself. But basically, we found a NES. Me and my brother and I found a NES, an original Nintendo system, on somebody's porch that I think they were just either giving away or they were somebody was cleaning a house. But the people who were downstairs or were putting out just said we could have it because we were like, I think 9 or 10. And so we took it home. We got to play Excite Bike for the first time, but we were never really much for like the really, really old school retro stuff. But so I would go to my friends' houses all the time. But when I video game collecting, finally got into playing video games, the main video game of when I finally got into video game collecting, it was already GameCube, Game Boy Color era, so I actually got to skip the NES, SNES, and 64. We did have a Sega growing up. We played a lot of Sonic through that way, but for me it was Game Boy Color, and then we played a lot of GameCube on, and that was mostly, as far as video games go, my brother and I were playing. But so this system is the first time I've ever had one, and I know they're going to announce a retro version of it at some point, but to get one in the box for a decent price, and I think it's going to be kind of fun collecting for, but it's a in-box N64, and I'm really happy to have this because it's in great shape. It still has the manual, and it's going to be really great. I think when you guys see those 2 Dragon Ball Z posters, I think that's where I'm going to end up putting it. But until I move out and have like my own place, and then I could hook up some retro stuff with that old TV that you see on top of my mini fridge there. But until then, I think I'm just going to keep a lot of the stuff in box because I can emulate most of it. But I think there's going to be enough games for the N64 that'll be kind of fun to collect. But the problem with collecting for N64 is that it's nostalgia for older people who are older than me, who are like in their 30s, and they like to go hard when it comes to collecting, and they because the N64 because the N64 is not only nostalgic to like most people my age or above, there's not great emulation for the N64, at least as far as like a system for it, with the 3D. I actually not totally sure why like emulation is hard for it. I think it's also kind of hard for the controller as well. But until Nintendo officially releases like the N64 Flash, this is going to be really great to have. And I don't have the NES of the SNES Classic, so I actually I like collecting the retro systems, and I think this one's going to look great. Thank you so much for guys for watching, and again, like always, thanks for